recent space race has exposed the tragic mistakes that were made by Apollo astronauts more than 50 years ago. To be honest with you, I don't think they should have been on the moon in the first place. They made serious mistakes that still impact us today. First and foremost, they introduced the concept of colonizing a heavenly body. And you remember that famous phrase after the lunar landings by Neil Armstrong, which says, "It's one small step for man and a giant leap for mankind," is nothing but a complete satire. Neil Armstrong said one thing and did the exact opposite. When he said it's a giant leap for mankind, he was trying to insinuate that their journey's success was a victory for the whole of humanity. What he meant was that their well-planned mission was going to bring greater good to the whole of humanity. I wish I could find a NASA astronaut and ask them this question face to face. Your famous friend, Neil Armstrong, claimed that there was great victory for the whole of mankind. Why then did he go ahead and plant a US flag and not that of the United Nations on the moon's surface? This very heinous act of US astronauts planting an American flag on a heavenly body 150 million kilometers away from Earth sends a very wrong impression to all the other nations of the world. It's what keeps haunting them over and over again. It forces them to believe that for them to match their power and glory to that of the United States, they also have to put their own flag on the moon. It divides the world even further. Some astronauts may argue that the Apollo missions were funded solely by the US government, and it's none other than the US who have the right to plant their flag on the lunar surface. Well, if that is the case, then you should never have put humanity into the phrase. The right words Neil Armstrong should have used should have been something like this: "It's a small step for a NASA astronaut and one giant leap for mighty America." Had he said that, then he would have been honest with himself, at least for the moment. When US astronauts planted an American flag on the moon, it sent a very wrong impression to the other countries of the world, many of whom are equally ambitious, just as the United States of America is. It's like saying, "Hey, look at us. We are the masters of this planet. As well as the moon, we are the rulers of the earth and the heavens. Who can dare challenge us?" That flag there symbolizes some sort of colonialism. It's like the USA is saying to the rest, "We went there first. Now we own the moon. It's our private property in space. Don't you dare mess with it, because you will be messing with our country as well." The other countries react by building their own space programs so that they can launch their own astronauts to plant their national flags on the lunar surface. They strongly believe that it's only after they have done that will the US stop humiliating them publicly. It comes as no surprise that now even nations with struggling economies divert a huge chunk of their national budgets to space programs, something which leaves a significant proportion of their population starving. But who cares now? Space exploration is the new form of national pride, a symbol of prestige. The moonwalkers stay on top of the pack and are treated with respect everywhere they go. Neil Armstrong and his Apollo crew had a chance to make the world a better place, to finally bring a long-lasting unity to all humanity. But when their time came to make a difference, they had failed miserably. They made the tensions that were already brewing right here on our planet to escalate further. I would classify this failure as the greatest blunder of the 20th century, a time when humans had finally the opportunity to unite and put aside their weapons, but instead they were inspired to build even more dangerous ones. NASA had failed to bring the world to unity by forcing astronauts to carry a flag to the moon, then say contradictory phrases after that, phrases that are very hypocritical and have nothing of comfort in them. It would have been better had they not carried any flag there in the first place. Their claim that NASA is solely US funded wasn't enough to justify their actions. Besides, rocket science is an age-old German technology. German scientists were flying rockets long before World War II broke out. Moreover, there are thousands of scientists with foreign backgrounds that are contributing to the US space program, which means that this is already an international operation. The best thing they could have done was to set up a UN flag there, or no flag at all. Second failure is to make the world believe that we can live on planet Mars. The Apollo moon landings created a mad passion for astronomy, not just in the scientific community, but the general public at large. It created a cult-like following all over the world. The average folks started saying that if we can put a man on the moon and bring him back safely to the Earth, then we can as well visit other planets and, if possible, relocate there permanently. This is a very ridiculous thing to hear, coming from the mouth of an average Joe. But in reality, Mars missions and other space travel programs are nothing but a hoax to entertain the masses. Starting life on an alien planet is nothing but a madman's dream. Because of these Apollo lunar landings, a kind of radical religion has been created in the scientific community worldwide. There are groups of people who now think that life is possible on other planets outside our world. Something I find very crazy. If you ask the ordinary folks on the streets this simple question, can humans really survive on planet Mars? Some elements of the media have been telling them that they can destroy their own planet and simply move on to the next one. Is that really possible? The idea sounds very brilliant until when we begin to do the math. Truth be told is that humans would not survive a month on the red planet if they managed to land there. Apart from carrying extra fuel and food, they also have to carry water and oxygen to breathe. And due to the extreme temperatures, they will also have to live in an air-conditioned room permanently. Some things like fresh air, moderate atmospheric temperatures, and clean drinkable water are things humans take for granted here on Earth. Do you know how many kilograms of oxygen that you use to breathe in a single year on Earth? It's about 3 million liters per person on average, and we get it all free of charge from Mother Nature. You have to carry all that with you to Mars if you are to survive. We need to stop this madness and start taking care of our beautiful blue planet. I am often fascinated by the stories I hear in the media about people moving to Mars in the next few years, crazy plans for colonizing it and making it the second Earth, a place to live and to enjoy life. When you actually look into the matter seriously, the whole thing sounds too far out of reach and a very crazy concept. The odds are stacked against astronauts so much that anyone that embarks on such a mission to this alien planet is nothing but a fool or a clown in a lab coat. When I hear space explorers saying that Mars is going to be our next place of conquest, it makes me laugh. I want to go visit their space program's headquarters and then ridicule them proper. Yeah, proper mockery is what these people need. It's a known fact that the place has no food, no water, and worst of all, no air to breathe. Temperatures are so extreme that no astronaut can survive outside the controlled environment of a space station. Yet with all this evidence, there are people who think that they still need to travel to that alien planet and somehow transform it into their comfortable homes. Honestly speaking, there are places on this planet of ours that are still uninhabitable, even though the planet has plenty of air to breathe and plenty of water to drink for all living creatures. There are places that are still so hostile, so alien that few humans can survive on them if there is any. If their claim is that they need to create more space for the booming human populations, then they should devise ways to make the inhospitable areas here on Earth more hospitable. They should be making plans for turning the dry, desolate, and barren wastelands into lush green marshes, a place where wildlife as well as humans can come to quench their thirst. You see images in the films about space explorations and expeditions gone wrong. One small mistake can bring down an entire space station. There is no room for errors. When the rocket is being launched, you hold your breath, hoping everything will be fine. Then out of the blue, something goes wrong. The spacecraft starts falling apart, and every astronaut starts scrambling to save their lives, but all is in vain. The adventurers are thrown out of their warm space module. They begin to face a slow, painful death through suffocation as they slowly dwindle away deep and deeper into space. There is nothing terrible as losing your life in space where you have no place to rest. It's better to lose your life in a plane crash here on Earth than in space, because your relatives will find your remains and lay them to rest. It's better to lose your life in a shipwreck than in space, because even if you are never found, your family and friends will come to the seashore and put some flowers on the waves in your remembrance. But in space, how will they know you have found a resting place? Humans have to find a better way to manage their worldly problems and survive the hardships they have here on Earth. Instead of taking those same problems into space, those trillions upon trillions of dollars that are being used to launch endless rockets should instead be used to protect our environment and conserve our planet's finite resources.